I think we're
We are
live.
live. We are live. We are alive.
That is true. I had a friend of mine. I saw him with a T-shirt on the other day that I thought was really cool. And it said, "What if I die?" And that was crossed out with a red line, and then underneath it in bold it says, "What if I live?" And I thought that was a very good
Ah,
philosophical T-shirt. It's like, yeah, don't you dead for forever. Just worry about what you're doing while you're alive.
there you go.
I
Yeah,
thought that was deep, man. That was deep. That's like Zen on a T-shirt, man.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
good. Well, I will tell you, Jim, I have done quite well this week. I
All
have
right.
finished my book. I have the ebook in Kindle. I have the audio book up on Amazon as well as the print book. Also sell it on my site as well. And I've even placed an ad in Facebook
Holy cow.
already. That was this weekend. Yeah.
Um.
So have moved along.
Well, that's pretty cool. We'll show all the folks because obviously
The
this
never
is
quit
significant.
mindset.
Yeah,
It is
I actually found it like right away. Um. So there it is. Never quit mindset. Unlock the hidden mental, physical toughness inside us all. Ooh,
and by the way,
look at you.
thanks Susan because she came up with that one during one of these shows.
Wow. Are you cutting her royalty checks or she just gets, undying gratitude?
I appreciate it, Susan.
All right. Paperback. Nice, nice. We need to get some reviews on this thing,
Yeah, yeah,
but there
that we
there you
do.
go. Nice work.
But yeah,
Excellent.
it's moving. Yeah, I was wanting to get this done. Very excited about it, and now the course is next.
Okay. Well, here,
So
I'm gonna copy that link and I'm gonna throw it into the chat. Maybe Susan can throw that over so people can click that link and go buy your book and give you a cool review.
that would be incredible. Um, you know, I appreciate it.
Is the audiobook, did you actually record the audiobook or
I
you had
pushed the
AI read
button
it?
of male, masculine, southerner.
All right. Well, there you go, man. That easy button sometimes is just too tempting to hit
It,
that
it,
boy. You're like,
I made an audio book in about 2 minutes. I had to go through and listen to like 15 different options, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need some British dude doing it. And let's do
suck it up,
American. Let's do
suck
some
it up,
American. Let's do some American English.
America.
Oh, and
Okay.
then I was like, oh, they have Southern too. Let's see what this is like.
That's
So
right. Sound like the
Southern masculine male
straight
was
out of
my.
a Florida Panhandle trailer park.
There you go. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Okay.
Kind of,
All right.
kind of. No, it was really good. In fact, I downloaded it and I've been listening to it, and I'm like, hey, this is flowing the way I wanted it to flow.
Okay.
You
Talk
know,
about
because
that. Talk about
like it
that for a
was,
second.
yeah, because I this this book came out of me. Really, I could have probably had it done in a week, but with a whole bunch of edits, it
Hmm.
took me probably 6 weeks to actually get it done.
Okay.
Um, and putting pictures in and formatting, so there was some stuff I needed to do, and it all flowed pretty well. And I wanted to make sure that what my mind flowed makes sense when people read it or hear it.
Hmm.
Um, so that has been the big thing. That's why I had multiple people read it and give me their feedback before I actually popped it up there.
Did those of us that gave that feedback get any credit with an acknowledgement?
I did
No.
not. I didn't do any of that, Jim.
Sounds like you're taking lessons straight from me. That's been a family issue for on the last big book was no image credit to Nancy, no thank you to anybody. It was just kind of like, hey, here's my book.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't know about a bestseller push. I guess we could try it, but I tell you what, it's the categories and subcategories are pretty popular. Like
so
self help and what were some of the other ones? I can't remember.
success self-help, motivation self-help, and personal transformation self-help. You might want to you might ought to find one category that where you might be able to get it up there just
Yeah,
because that'll help with sales. But let's talk about that for a second.
yeah,
Why would you want to be a bestseller on Amazon? It gives you credibility. And
sure.
if it's your first book, you definitely want to do it.
Yeah, I've done
Okay.
it once, twice.
Y-
Um, yeah, I've done it twice already. So, am I that concerned about it right now? No, but um, I may try to push for it.
Well,
We'll see.
yeah, but okay. So we need to talk about this a little bit because I think this is an important discussion, especially with what we have coming up.
You gonna bully me
Um,
into another book?
No, well, yeah, actually, I am a companion to this one. Absolutely, I will. So, two things. I need the fat pen for this one. All right, we need to talk about awards versus rewards.
Hmm.
Okay, versus marketing. Okay, so all these things work together and to make us money. Now, why do we want the award of being a bestseller? Well, it gives you credibility. I mean, that's the number one thing. Gives you credibility and it also gives you confidence. All right. I remember when we got your book, your very first best-selling book, and you'd been writing books for 20 years and you were like still pretty pumped because now you could forever say best Amazon best-selling fitness author forever.
It's on all of my books, Jim. Look at
Right.
that.
So
Right there. I got a little starburst.
there you go.
All my
Um,
books have it.
and so credibility and confidence, but you can't normally spend awards.
Mm, true.
Meaning making that book a bestseller on Amazon is good in that respect of it's great when it comes to the credibility and confidence. However, as far as rewards go, as far as money that you make, you don't really make that much money off of selling the book on Amazon, especially if you do a bestseller campaign, knock it down to 99 cents. So here's the thing,
Point.
not poo pooing this at all. Smart thing to do, real good. Okay. But let's look at the standpoint of making money with this book and what is the purpose of making money with this book, or the purpose of writing this book was to create a resource that was going to be useful for people who buy all your other books. It's kind of
Yes.
like this is the turbocharger. And for anybody who doesn't know, would tell everybody to give the 1 minute commercial for what this book is about.
Oh, the Never Quit Mindset.
Uh-huh.
It's a book to help you move from thinking about your goals to actually getting them done and
Right,
becoming a little mentally and physically tougher because of it.
right. So it's an anti-wussification book.
Yeah.
When you're in the pity
Requires you
pot,
to it requires you to get moving.
right? Okay, so the reason why you wrote this book was to, yeah, help humanity and blah blah blah. But the real reason why you wrote this book was because everybody who's ever bought a book from you before and anyone who ever buys a book from you in the future needs this book too, right?
It's a great companion. Absolutely.
So
Whether you're
if
trying to
you
lose weight or become special ops, you need to learn how to never quit.
look at him dropping his marketing messages in there. I like it. Okay. So that's smart. So if the purpose right now, the immediate purpose of that book is everybody who's ever bought a book, everybody who's going to buy a book, is it smart for Stu to send an email, start burning up his marketing capital by sending people to Amazon to buy it or sending them to buy it off of his own website? You guys tell us in the comments, but I know the answer. But you know, Stu, what's the answer?
I'm going to send them to my site because I make
Right.
more money off my site. Yeah.
Right. Plus they can buy
And
other stuff too.
other books up there too. Yeah. And
Right.
it's a, one-time offers. It's a part of an order bump, within the website. So everybody who's on that website will see it in
Stu
the
is going to embed
process.
this book like bed bugs at a Motel 6 near the highway and train tracks. Okay? You ain't getting away from that site without having that book offered to you either before or after you bought something. And you also are, your next step with that is turning it into what?
Course.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then the course is going to be how much? Can't spell course, but
Good question. I'd probably like a $97 course.
okay. So $97 course, and how much you selling the book for on your website?
1995.
Okay. How much is it on Amazon?
1995.
Okay, cool. So, well,
Yeah.
the cool thing is you can make an offer on your website. You can include some extra stuff with it on your website. So it's like, hey, buy it here, and you're also going to get XYZ.
Yeah.
Okay. So now is the course going to be exactly what's in the book?
No, it'd be some, but not. It's going to be a guideline, but there'll be a lot more in the course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is that the course is going to be the easy button or the fire starter even for the book. So you'll be able to sell them as a package deal.
Yes.
So the bottom line is you got to make a choice between awards and rewards. Awards are important, but after a while, just doing that, hey, you see a lot of people that are New York Times bestselling authors or Amazon bestselling authors. That doesn't mean every book was. And sacrificing that marketing capital and sending them to Amazon so Amazon makes all the money is dumb. Once
Yeah. I'm
you've
with you.
gotten that thing, it's about having a funnel that gets you the rewards on your website.
Yeah.
And so that's understanding why you're writing the book, what the purpose is, how you're going to use it, why people are going to buy it, when they're going to buy it, and how you can get to profit as fast as possible. So I'm not saying that doing a bestseller campaign isn't important because it is. But ultimately, the way we make money with that book is because we have the book. And ultimately, we make money with the book by selling stuff on the back end. And you can't do that on Amazon.
Hey, you want to hear a quick story about, I think, why I wrote this book?
Sure.
Um, and if it doesn't help anybody else, be honest with you, it's okay with me. Um,
Okay.
Listen to this. So we go into, I coach at the Naval Academy. We walk in. I'm walking in. This guy's giving a quick presentation, and I noticed like he has tears in his eyes, and he's telling everybody that he was one of the guys that isn't going to get to go to SEAL training over the summer for their selection program. Okay, so he did not qualify to go. And he was telling everybody that he had failed and he is sorry. And he was telling the team this because we kind of have this culture of everybody competes and everybody goes to these selections, and and he's pretty distraught. And I cut him right in the middle of it, and I said, "You did not fail. This is a learning experience. And from now on, I want you to be smarter because of this." And basically it's a timeline delay, not your dream is ended. Right? All this means is you're going to spend another year or two doing a different job and you lateral transfer back into SEAL training, and you're going to be smarter because of that. All right. So it's a mindset shift. And this, guess what, Jim? This is chapter 7 in this book, right? All about this. And
Wow.
yeah. In fact, I said, send me your email because I'm going to send you the ebook and I want you to read chapter 7.
Okay.
and he did, and he came
Oh,
back.
I
He
thought
was
you were telling
sick.
me. I'm like, I
It,
already got it, but if you want to send it to me again, I'll read chapter 7.
no, I sent it to him, and
Okay.
he goes, "Yes, that's exactly what I needed to read." And he goes, "I liked your story about failing and how you turned it around, and that was really helpful." So
Was
anyway,
this
that was a
was
neat
this
thing.
conversation in that dungeon that where we visited you guys in
Yep,
that? Wow.
yep.
Mm.
I was standing in the back. There's 50 other dudes in there. You know, 10 of them are going to this selection. He was the 11th one that didn't get it, and he felt pretty bad about it.
And he
And
didn't get it because he didn't meet the standard, or the other 10 beat him out.
it was just competitive. I mean, they're sending 70 people,
Okay.
and it was just too competitive,
Okay.
So yeah,
So this is for selection for selection. I mean, this is like the
yeah.
summer before to see if you can even, okay, we'll let you. So this is, they beat you and then they let you come back to school for a year, and then they send you
Then you
to
go.
pre-buds and then buds
Yeah,
and then the whole, oh, okay. Wow.
yeah. So it's and pretty much a year in advance that you're going to be pre-selected to get selected,
Now
right? And
they didn't do that when you went through.
it was a little different, yeah, when I
Yeah.
went through. But
Okay.
anyway, like I said, that was a neat story that kind of came out of this book, and I was so like my mind was so read into this mindset, and I was able to just like verbalize it real quick for him, and said, in fact, let me send you the whole book, and I want you to read this. So
So that story right there, you need to develop that
absolutely.
story and then use that to both sell the book. So don't tell them what chapter 7 is. It's a total everything you just said. I mean, you never really said what chapter 7 was. I
Yeah.
mean, you sort of did, but you can tell that story all about chapter 7. Tell the story about the kid, you cut him off, you told him, this and this and this, and you need to read chapter 7. I mean, that's a total mystery curiosity thing. And then you could expand on that story and make that as part of the follow-up onboarding when someone buys the course or buys the whatever.
Hmm.
And then you track that kid, and please God, in a couple of years, let him make it to selection and pass buds and go to the teams, because that story right there could sell thousands of books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good one.
So I know you don't toot your own horn much, but that's the kind of stuff where that was one story like that makes a international bestseller,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is really cool.
like I said, it inspired me. I was it just gave me reason why I wrote it. Sometimes you need
Sure.
those little reason why I'm writing this thing, and you know
Yeah.
that day it was it. So
Well, and it's interesting, just me over even the last few weeks, and the team as well, with all the stuff we got going on. Last week was all about creating the core content for the next book, which is going to be AI copy hacking secrets. Ended up that was it's one of those things where you're sitting comfortably on your couch, and or you're playing in a planning meeting and stuff's 2 3 months away, and it's, oh yeah, we'll just write the book, and then we'll write the content for the book, and then we'll get ready for the write your book challenge that's coming up. We'll just do all that in like a 4 week period. It'll be fine. I'll just suck it up. And then you're in the middle of it going, man, this sucks. Getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get everything together, and still going at 6 o'clock at night and getting everything together, and then realizing when you thought you'd be done that you ain't going to be done, and you got to do another day of it, and then that's pushing everything else back. And then, like, even this morning, but 5 minutes before we're getting on here, I'm putting the finishing touches on the one-time offer copy for the other thing, and then I've got to create all. I mean, it's just it's one of those things though that I was telling Terry. We were riding up on the elevator with the dogs, and I'm just like, you just gotta you just do it. I mean,
Yes.
you just do it. And one of the things I've learned from you and from the stuff I've done with you is that the pain in the moment, if you focus on the pain of the moment instead of the purpose of why you're doing what you're doing, you are so effed.
Yeah.
But if you have that strong why, and then you can just compartmentalize even minute by minute, like I just got to make it through this next paragraph. I got to make it through. I got to make it to the next mailbox. I mean, it's the parallels between mental and physical,
Oh yeah.
and even Monday with everything. And I haven't been running lately, but like I finally, like the bear coming out of the cave. It's like, okay, it's time to, time to start running again. And all I kept telling myself is this is all mental right now. Physically, you are capable of doing all of this. It's all mental. And that thing, back to what you talk about, is talk to yourself, but don't listen to yourself. Or what do you say? Because it's like talk to yourself,
Yeah.
don't listen to
Don't
yourself.
listen to yourself. Talk to yourself. So it's
Okay.
just flipped over. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Because
is
that
really cool.
little weakling in your head is telling you, hey, slow down a little bit. You're tired. You should go to sleep.
Right.
Right.
Right. Or you shouldn't get out of bed right now.
Right. You
It
shouldn't get out of bed at all. Just stay in
Yeah,
bed. Right. And said you got to like, nope. Talking to myself.
right.
Let's go. Let's go.
Which is super cool. So, it's interesting though with the books and stuff. Brad just asked credibility of the book as a bestseller versus boosting the author. Not 100% sure what that question is, but basically what I'm saying is once you've got enough credibility and you've got an audience, don't worry about awards, worry about rewards. Because at some point you got to make money with this thing. This is
Yeah.
an information based business, not an information based charity. You got to figure out how you got stuff that's good enough that people will pay you, and
Yeah.
then be open, ready, and willing to accept that payment.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I like to see every month, Jim, is that Amazon pays me more than I pay them.
There you
So,
go. Yeah, that'd
so
be a stretch for me at my house. So
it's tough, but
absolutely.
we're pushing it. We're pushing it. So,
So one of the cool things that we got coming up though, Stu, is just
mhm.
as an aside, um, big push, two big things going on right now. Writing my book, AI copy hacking secrets. What do you think that's about, Stu?
I don't know. Is it something like this, but genies involved?
So, interestingly enough, this book was written when AI did not exist. Think about that.
Isn't that
There
crazy?
were there was no AI. There was no ChatGPT. It wasn't ChatGPT wasn't even a thing.
Hmm.
OpenAI wasn't even was I was about to say wasn't even a country. What? Wasn't even a company. Um, but now it's like this is 100% HI, human intelligence. Everything in this book, all the frameworks, all the training, all the everything was all based on you taking what was in this book and running it through your brain and turning it into copywriting. How last century, Stu?
Yeah, it's so old.
And so
So
what
old
I
school.
yeah, old school. What I realized was that and originally I was thinking, okay, I'll just come out with Copywriting Secrets version 2.0. But what I realized is that I needed to have a hybrid model where I needed to teach people how nobody wants to learn copywriting anymore. They just don't. And I'm of the opinion that you sort of really don't have to. You have to learn what good copywriting is. You have to understand communication and persuasion and even to a degree seduction. Woohoo, there's a word.
Mm.
Um, but you don't need to train to be a copywriter anymore. So what does that mean? It means we need to learn how to hack together copy that we need. And it's got to be good. And in some ways, in some ways, it has to be even better than what you could have done on your own because everybody has access to the same tools now. And so what it means is that I needed to create a framework where I could teach people how to create content using AI no matter what tools they chose to use. And that was a whole lot of mental gymnastics to simplify it down to the point where it was as simple and boiled down as I like to do.
Hmm.
And that was hard. And so now we're in the editing process. And someone might say, okay, well, Jim, why didn't you use your AI tools to write the book? And my answer would be, you don't think I used AI to help me create that content? And so that's, there's it's very interesting undertaking. It's been fun, but it also sucked with everything else that we had going on. But I'm glad that we got it over the first big hump. And so the next big thing that we have coming up is a week from Monday. We're going to be doing the next Write Your Book AI challenge. Has all new tools, all new genies,
Easy
process.
buttons.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you, next week we're gonna do a bunch of demos,
Sweet.
but with the easy button and with a new mechanical device that we have to suck the information out of your head so that it's your content. See, because I'm going to digress for just a sec. We got some positives and negatives when it comes to AI, okay?
Sure.
And here's pos, here's neg. The positive is you can get stuff done fast. The positive is that you can pile up a bunch of content. All right. So you can definitely accelerate the process. The negative, as far as AI with writing books, is that people say, "Hey, it's not really my content, and it's not my voice, and it's not my style." Meaning, literally, it it's not my stuff. It doesn't sound like me, and it doesn't read like I had written it. So, and these are legit, but the fact that it was fast and you could
Hmm.
pile it up and get it done and get it done pretty quick overrode and still does override these. But Stu,
Yes.
what if this wasn't an impediment?
Hmm.
What if it was all your content? And what if it sounded exactly like you? In fact, what if it was written exactly the way you write? In other words, I slurped it out of your head and then used AI to accelerate the process and have it write exactly the way you write. Would that be cool?
That'd be very cool.
Well, Stu, it's a reality.
Mm.
And we'll be demonstrating some stuff, but imagine being able to put in some writing samples of yours, then have the genies analyze that writing style, create an in-depth profile of your writing style, and then being able to drop that into our AI tools to have that be the way all your stuff is written. And
Nice.
then imagine an easy process to slurp the information out of your head, feed it directly into the genie so that every chapter not only is your content because it came out of your head, but it's got your voice and your writing style in every single word. Would that be cool?
Yes,
Yeah, well,
very
that's
much
part
so.
of the new process. Plus the easy buttons baked into everything everywhere it can be. So it basically means a better book, a bigger book, a faster book.
Love it.
Pretty cool. And it's better than me coming to your house and doing it for you because it's faster in the time. And anyway, it's amazing. And the cool thing is that we're going to be doing, because this is the culmination of everything that we've been doing with AI book writing for 2.5 years now. I've got special value pricing on it. People who are already in CopyandContent.AI will be able to get in for less than half price. So more than 50% off what I'm going to be charging the rest of the world. And even the rest of the world is going to be shocked at the value pricing. But the reason why we're doing this is because this is like the culmination of everything. I'm doing this to get an avalanche of testimonials. So part of the way you're going to pay for entrance into this is going to be by giving me a testimonial when you get your book done. Because this is, I mean, this way of doing it, dude, game changed
Mm.
forever. Game changed how this works. And then I'm going to be jacking the price at least 5 times. So when we do this in the future, the price to get into this is going to be for outsiders. The price for outsiders to get into this is going to be at least $1,000. So I'm just letting you know.
Mm.
So Carla Lean says, got my copy of Stu's book. You're making money while you're podcasting, Stu.
Well, thank you.
How cool is that?
That's very cool. I appreciate it. Mm.
So cool. Well, what else do we want to talk about? Books and stuff today, Stu.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your book just a little bit more. And what I mean by that is, one,
Mm-hmm.
why did you decide to do another? And two, um, how are you structuring it to kind of explain, what the genie is and all that for people in a book?
Well, okay. So why did I decide to write the book? Well, because the book I had wasn't doing what I needed to do anymore. All right, think about it.
Yeah.
The fundamental shift in the landscape of the world, AI, and this doesn't mention AI at all. So it's instantly obsolete.
Wow.
So I thought about I could have just added like AI prompts to go with it. And it's like, no, that's gonna suck. And so I needed to update it. So why was to stay current was and all that. But I also need to be seen as an expert. I also want to start getting on a whole bunch of podcasts.
Mm.
Podcasting is, important. And
Yeah.
in order to get on podcasts, there's got to be a reason for you to be on the podcast. And this, again, this isn't a good enough reason for me to be able to get on podcasts. But
Smart.
AI copy hacking secrets. Now we got a whole bunch of different angles we can talk about, whole bunch of different reasons to have me on. It shows that I'm current, it shows that I'm an expert, and all kinds of good stuff. Plus, me, I overshare. What software is promoted in this book? Funnel scripts, something that just kind of is
Ah,
is there. All right, but I've moved on. So copyandcontent.ai, yeah, I got to have a new book to promote that.
yeah.
And
It's
so
very
that's
similar to. That's a very good point. It's very similar to when I first heard the word tactical fitness. I had been writing military, law enforcement, and firefighter fitness for 10 years at that point, and I heard the term tactical fitness, and I'm like, we got to do a book on tactical fitness.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
So, how is it structured? Well, I got to ride the fine line between one of the one of the big bitches that people had about this book, even though I think it was a very unfounded, is that about 1 in 100 chuckleheads would leave a comment like, "It's nothing but a big pitch for his software," which is not true in the least.
Right.
But I also had to do it in such a way that no matter what AI chat bot somebody was using, it would work. And I also couldn't tie it to a specific thing. So I had to make it so it would work into the future.
Mm.
So I never mentioned a specific large language model. I wrote it so that it would work with ChatGPT, Genie Chat, Claude, Grok, Gemini, Llama. Everybody and their
Mm.
brothers got, Nick and Tony's Autobahn and AI chatbot upstairs. Um, had to do it in such a way that would work with all that. And so it's a combination of teaching people to fish and also handing them a fish, which
Mm.
maybe a better way would be to think of it is teaching people how to grow potatoes while still handing them a seed potato. Ah, not as good of a metaphor, but it's true, because with the seed potato, you can cut that up and use that as your initial crop to grow your taters. Yeah, obviously that metaphor has just fallen straight on its ass. I'll never use it again. I'll figure out the biblical fish metaphor. But so the way that the book is organized is, it starts out with the overview, and then I teach the fundamentals. And what are the fundamentals? Avatar, offer,
Ah.
and user. Okay, that triumvirate.
Yep.
Then hot buttons. So what are the basic hot buttons building blocks that everybody's got to know? Then I teach basic frameworks. Okay. And what do you think basic frameworks are? So hooks,
Yep.
nope, not stories,
Oh.
hooks, blurbs, and calls to action. Because see, a
Okay.
story is and this is where I'm differentiating a little bit from other stuff. I address the story thing, but a blurb is, I mean, it could be hook, description, offer. That whole hook, story, offer is actually misleading because it makes everybody think that it's got to be a story. It's
Ah.
actually hook, blurb, offer, because the blurb can be a story, it can be a description, it could be bullets, it could be depending on what you're doing. So a little bit of a reframe and then
Mm.
some simplistic stuff. Then what I did was to kind of throw people off a little bit was I talked about soul and sass, stories, opinions, unique perspective, and lessons learned. Now that you know enough. And then the other thing that I did before that, though, was this is the teaching someone how to fish, was I taught 21 tweaks and hacks. So I taught 21 ways that you can hack any kind of instructions or prompts or other things that you would use with a chatbot. So
Mm.
ways to dial everything in. This is really the meat. This is the one that makes it truly really cool, because now you get, I think the last one I saw was 10,000 prompts
Oh
for
yeah.
for 20 bucks on Facebook. And then like HubSpot put one out, 1,000 marketing prompts for, you for free if you just opt in. And they're all like one line prompts. So if everybody's using the same one line prompts, everybody's getting the same one line prompts worth of output. So the
Mm.
real magic is learning how to tweak the shit out of those things to make them awesome. Then I talk about don't lose your soul with all this AI stuff, and a pretty impassioned little talk about Stop trying to replace yourself, because if you replace yourself, you vanish into nothingness. What you need to do is use AI to amplify your voice and accelerate your efforts. And then finally, I did advanced frameworks, which are specific things like advertorials, articles, blog posts, whole bunch of other stuff. So the one thing that I didn't do in the training, because I'm going to kill like 5 birds with 1 stone, is when we do the write your book.ai challenge, the one framework I didn't address in the book was an actual long form sales letter. So what I'm going to do with the write your book challenge is I'm going to write a book about the perfect sales letter with AI, and then I'm going to take that content and stick it in as the last section in the AI copy hacking book. So that's my overall strategy for how I structured the book, why I structured it that way, and how I'm putting it all together. And in between, I'm going to take a cruise.
Good.
I'm going to need a break.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I will
um,
say, I usually turn a little bit creatively brain dead after 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But I was having some inspired, post dinner hours, finishing this project. I'm up till 6 to 9 o'clock. I was still getting things done, and mainly because I saw the finish line. I think that was helpful. But
right.
plus, yeah, I just realized I needed more time to devote to it. So
Well, and
it-
here's the thing though. If you're going to do something big, you're not going to do something big by staying 100% comfortable while you're doing it.
Mm, yeah, yep.
And
Chapter 5: getting comfortable being uncomfortable,
but
pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
right.
I had to listen
And
to myself, Jim,
yeah,
this whole time.
you
I was
give
listening to
yourself a
myself.
little self-talk, Stu. But like with this thing right here, what I'm not saying AI is bad. What I'm saying is if you want what you do with AI to be amazing, then you need to learn how to inject your soul into what you're doing, because that's going
Yeah,
to be the differentiator. If everybody's using the same prompts, everybody's going to get the same results. But if you're using better prompts or better tools and you're including elements of yourself, your stuff is going to be outstanding. That's what I was trying to say here. And the other thing though is that let's really talk for a minute about being uncomfortable. Okay. Is getting up an hour early really that big? I mean, like, it really going to be the end of the world type thing? Is maybe no, I know TiVo is not a thing anymore, but with having stuff recorded and then you can skip the commercials and stuff, maybe, imagine if you would just rearrange your day
mm,
to have 90 minutes of uninterrupted focus for like a week and a half. And then at
yeah.
the end, you could have your own book done,
Mm,
or maybe giving up 1 hour of the 5 hours of television most people watch every night. I mean, hell, if you pre record it and then skip the commercials, you can get an extra hour out of like 2.5 hours of regular TV,
true.
skipping the commercials. But anything worth having is going to require a little bit of discomfort. But let's keep it real. The kind of stuff that we're talking about here, that level of discomfort for the people who are actually listening to us, relative to the level of discomfort that the vast majority of the world experiences just to have a roof over their head, food on the table, clean water to drink, and pursuit of basic education, it's not really a sacrifice. Okay, just saying. I don't know if that's like an appendix in the book. Does it end with and stop being a wuss? Is that like the last line of the book?
It does not. It does
Uh,
not. Nope.
if you
But
want, you could use a display quote from me on the last page of the book. And as my friend and co-author and business associate for the last 13, 14 years loves to say, stop being a wuss. Jim Edwards.
would be a good one.
Just saying, you can use it. I won't
Good,
even look
good
for
quote.
royalties or
Good,
anything.
good, good quote.
And there you go. Okay. Well, hey, so a couple things everybody needs to do. Number one, you need to go over to StuSmithFitness.com and you need to buy a copy of Stu's new book. Number two, mark your calendar because a week from Monday, which is going to be April 28th, we are going to be starting the new and improved and most amazing, awesome version of the Write Your Book.ai challenge that is going to absolutely blow out of the water anything we've done in the past. And let me tell you, what we've done in the past has been incredible. And so this is absolutely going to be a game changer. Mark your calendar now. We're going to be going from 2 in the afternoon till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to make it a real-time sprint. So you're going to be doing the majority of the stuff right there during the actual sprint itself. All new tools you're going to get access to. And like I said, we have special pricing for people who are already members of CopyandContent.AI. So keep your eye out for that. And my goal, my promise, my commitment is that my new big book is going to be done and ready for sale, ready for publishing by the end of June. So, and that's different than the book I'm going to be writing with the Write Your Book thing. I mean, this is, there are different, let's address that for a second, Stu.
Okay.
Just for grins, because I can see some people, oh, well, how come Jim says his one book isn't going to be ready till the end of June and he's going to have his other book done in about 12 days? What's the difference? What would you say to those people, Stu?
um, there is really no difference. It's just the amount of information that you're putting into something might require a little more time. For me, it was formatting. I needed to reformat what I was doing, so it took more time. So, um, and then my editor, you know, who is my wife, was on her own time. So, uh,
Right.
yeah,
It's process, format, and purpose. And so one's not better than the other. I've done books every kind of way that you can think of. One's not better than the other.
yeah.
Just different ways to get there. I can go across country by plane. I can go by train. I can go by car. I can backpack. I can hitchhike. There you go. So
Yeah.
we're transparent. All right. Well, that's all I got. Great job, Stu. For those of you that are members of CopyandContent.AI, in about 10 minutes, we're going to be jumping over onto the Zoom link to do our copy hacking, our genie hacking, rather. I got copy hacking on the brain now. We're going to be doing genie hacking, and I'm going to be demonstrating for you all. I'm sure Stu's got some hacking stuff that he's been doing with the genies and stuff. And then
Yep.
time permitting, I will actually demo for all of you the new and improved version 2 of the nonfiction chapter writing genie, which will only be available to those who sign up for the next Write Your Book.ai challenge. Nice work, Stu.
Thank
Tell
you,
them where
sir.
to go if they want your book.
StuSmithFitness.com. You can also go
Awesome.
to Amazon.com too.
Excellent.
Either one's fine with me.
All right. Everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.